Back at it again with the Mobius Dickus, Chapter 38, Dusk. So this is the second part of our trilogy of chapters which deal with the question of control and choice articulated through Ahab, Starbuck, and Stubb. And here we see Starbuck put into a middle position, where if Ahab is full willfulness, then perhaps Starbuck is some kind of like middle ground, where he is scared of defying God or fate, but he is also willful himself in his desire not to be taken under by Ahab's decisions. So let's look at his first quotation. He says, "My soul is more than matched. She's overmanned, and by a madman. Insufferable sting that sanity should ground arms on such a field, but he drilled deep down and blasted all my reason out of me. I think I see his impious end, but feel that I must help him to it. Will I, nil I, the ineffable thing has tied me to him, tows me with a cable that I have no knife to cut." So this seems to position Starbuck as at his core disagreeing with Ahab, but also feeling, unlike Ahab's intense willfulness, that there is a level of conflict and control that seems too much for Starbuck. He doesn't seem to believe in his own control or choice sufficiently to contradict Ahab. "Horrible old man! Who's over him?" he cries. "Aye, he would be a Democrat to all above," i.e. he wants to be equal to God, right? He wants to be democratic with God. "Look how he lords it over all below." So a little hypocrisy from Ahab. He wants to be a Democrat to God, but the people below him, not so very democratic, which Starbuck is experiencing. "Oh, I plainly see my miserable office, my position." Okay, to obey, rebelling, and worse yet, to hate with touch of pity. For in his eyes I read some lurid woe would shrivel me up had I it. Yet is there hope? Time and tide flow wide. The hated whale has the round watery world to swim in as the small goldfish has its glassy globe. His heaven-insulting purpose God may wedge aside. I would up heart were it not like lead. But my whole clock's run down, my heart the all-controlling weight, I have no key to lift again. So ironically, Starbuck laments Ahab's willingness to defy God or fate, but he himself can't bring himself to defy Ahab, which I guess is internally consistent with a critique of Ahab's willfulness. But it seems to make Starbuck problematic in his casual acceptance of Ahab's quest, which is, pretty problematic. It's not what anyone on the boat wanted to do. It's totally based in some kind of philosophical or psychological need that no one else shares. And so it seems kind of problematic that Starbuck is just going to let this happen. He kind of redeems himself and again puts himself in this middle position in the next passage where he says, "O life, 'tis an hour like this with soul beat down and held to knowledge as wild untutored things are forced to feed. O life, 'tis now that I do feel the latent horror in thee. But 'tis not me. That horror's out of me, and with the soft feeling of the human in me, yet will I try to fight ye grim phantom features. Stand by me, hold me, bind me, O ye blessed influences." So this quotation shows a little bit more willfulness, right? A bit more willingness to fight his dire circumstances, which ironically, of course, shifts him closer to the very person he wants to fight, which is Ahab. So interesting contradiction here, and I think there's a reason that Starbuck is presented this way, because it puts him in the middle of Ahab and Stubb, as someone who is unsure of whether they control their own fate or not, and is dealing and wrestling with the ambiguities of whether one has control or not. Whereas Ahab's never had, more clarity in his life. Ahab says, strike through the pasteboard mask. That's the truth. Whereas Starbuck represents the more rational, the more balanced doubt and uncertainty. And we're going to contrast that with Stubb in the next chapter. So I'll see you there.